Hey everyone, I'm Liz, and this is the TalkBack, where we use the power of conversation to inspire, educate, entertain, and encourage the culture. Now, it's one thing to be a good movie, we all know that, but a good movie that sparks conversation and also changes the culture, that's what we call a classic. Queen&Slim hit theaters Thanksgiving weekend, and it's still causing major buzz. I don't know about y'all, but I stand for this movie.
Right. Love it. Right.
So much that, of course, we had to do a talkback session here at the station. So for those of you who do not know, Queen&Slim is the writing and directing debut of uber creatives Lena, Waithe, and Melina Matsoukas. I want to say it correctly.
Right.
The two come together to create a beautiful and provocative film that has all of us in our fields. So much that we had to come in here and get things off our chest. But before we get into this talk back, I want everyone to introduce themselves and just tell them who you are.
Cool. Well, I'll go first. My name is Carrie Elizabeth Brown. I'm an actress here in Atlanta, and I'm also the creator of that one scene starring Carrie Elizabeth Brown, where I provide I present monologues every second and fourth Monday of the month. So stay tuned in January.
I'm Timothy Richardson. I'm an actor and filmmaker.
My name is Kanu-Lewis, and I am a digital marketer in Atlanta.
My name is Ameena Phelps, and I am a business administrator for a media company.
And I am Liz Smith, and I'm just a media mogul.
Okay. Come on.
Okay, so before we get into the themes of Queen&Slim, I just want everyone to go around and just say one word that came to mind once you watched Queen&Slim.
I'll say spirituality.
Come back to me. We gotta come back
I got a few, but the first one that comes to mind is love.
Okay.
Wow, I have a few too, but the very first one that I thought about was power. Yeah.
Very good.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
It's good.
What comes to mind is unapologetic.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Come on, y'all.
Yes.
Right.
I love it.
Yes.
So that all ties into themes that we saw within this movie. The first one was shout out to Carrie because she put this all together very well.
Yeah.
And we're just going to just go right into it and talk about it. Strength of black women versus powerless of the black men. We saw this a lot within the movie, and I feel like the first time we saw it was on a car ride when he couldn't really defend himself to the police officer, and she had to get out the car and really just digest the situation and take up for him.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about that. How you guys feel about it? Thoughts?
Right. I feel like she was able to do that because she knew the right knowledge. Someone just sent me a video today about knowing the right knowledge, and she knew the right knowledge of the system, you know, and that's something that Slim wasn't privy to. So that's why she felt, empowered to do what she did and to try to make that situation a right situation. So I think it was just the knowledge that she had.
I feel like there were a lot of scenes of black male powerlessness versus black female strength. And for me, it just kind of depicted that stereotype of black women being strong, black women being the superhero. And she fell into that category countless times in their interactions. And just like you said in the beginning, when they got arrested, it was like she took over a lot of the conversation and the dialogue and like instructing him, or not really instructing him, but really giving commands to the police officer. She was very commanding, domineering, and empowered to do so based on her knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that particular scene when they were in the car and then they got pulled over, I feel like it resonates with a lot of black women because we always find ourselves like taking control over the situation, trying to handle it. But as much as it is a tool, sometimes it's looked at as a weapon, and that's the downside of it.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
It's especially coming from black women, it's looked at as a weapon.
Yeah.
Yes, it really is. Yeah.
How do you feel, Tim? Like,
Right.
I like listening very like in detail to what everybody is saying, because I mean there's some great points. I think, you know, from my perspective, I think looking at Slim, if I would have got out the car, it's it's an historical thing that, you know, your fight or flight sense starts rising, your heart starts beating, you know that I'm already guilty.
Yeah.
You know, just for being outside of this car, and it's being a black male, you know, like having been in situations where I've had a cop pull me over and because my headlight was out, but why do you have a flashlight looking in the back of my car?
Yeah.
You know, and so times like that, and it's crazy to think that in that moment I was with a black woman, and to think she had to kind of be the one to neutralize the situation, because my hands were kind of tied, like verbally I was handcuffed because I couldn't say too much or make too quick of a movement, because to him that would startle him. So she had to be the one to speak up and say, well, excuse me, do you have a purpose for looking in this car?
Right.
Now if I would have said it, I'm gonna need you to step out the car.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so.
You know, that's interesting, because it immediately makes me think back to just from a historical reference, right? In times of slavery, they broke down the black man,
Right.
which immediately puts us in position of power.
Yes.
We have to support you.
Yeah.
We have to build you back up.
Right.
And I feel like that was depicted throughout the entire movie.
You failed to execute a turn signal back there.
Oh, my bad.
Step out of the vehicle.
Can I ask why, officer?
No, you may not. Put your hands on your head and get on the ground now.
Are you serious?
Get on the ground!
Why is he under arrest?
Get back in the car!
I am an attorney.
Chill,
I'm
just
reaching
chill.
for my cell phone.
So another theme that we saw within the movie was freedom. And even though it was a lot of running away from cops or being hidden, or you know, you're on the run, chased or whatever, it was so much freedom in that movie.
Yes.
Just from little things that on the average we don't do as people, you know, because either we don't have the time or we're scared, or you know, just different things. But in this movie they were forced to seek out freedom because they didn't know when it was going to be their last day.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh, well, for me, I think it was, so the movie just had me thinking about like, oh my gosh, what would I do if I had a certain amount of days before I'm locked up or dead, unfortunately. And it made me think like, would you go and bungee jump like you've been wanting to do? Would you go skydiving? So it was cool to see them, you know, on the run, but still put emphasis on, okay, this is life. We got to live it. We only got a certain amount of time. I'm going to get on this horse. I'm going to
cut my hair off.
All
that stuff.
I'm going to cut my hair off. I'm going to ride outside of a car and just feel the wind.
Right.
That was powerful.
Right.
Like, just do what you want.
Right.
Be free.
In this moment, I think I'm just realizing how maybe Queen, her life, her day-to-day routine was probably so structured.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you say, like, cutting off your hair or riding and feeling the wind, now, like, when I think about it now, she probably, even under these extreme circumstances, this is probably the most free she's ever felt in her whole entire life. It sucks that it's in between, you know, in this situation, but it's beautiful just to think back on that, because I think we do take it for granted, and we don't really like we're not present, you know what I mean? So,
Are you crazy? Get back in the car.
We also see a theme of mental health, which is very common in our culture. We don't speak about it enough. I feel like it's getting more awareness, but she definitely showed that in this movie. I feel like the first time I saw it was with the uncle. With even her having to explain the backstory. I knew he had a little bit of issues going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But even she had issues too when she talked about her situation. And obviously Slim did too, just from having to deal with every day with someone like coming at you because of your skin color.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
and especially for Queen, because I mean, your uncle killed your mom.
Yes.
And then you defend him to get him out of prison, or
That's a lot.
you know, to keep him from going to prison. Like, have you ever even dealt with that?
Right.
You know, and it doesn't seem like she has. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people going through life who go through traumatic things in their childhood or whatever, and they just suppress it. Or maybe they try to hide it by being excellent or being seen or being, you know. So, but yeah, definitely mental health, especially with her though. I see.
What I love is, you know, she also Lena touched on mental health in another regard, and that's just as Black people. We are traumatized through what we have been through historically. I think there was a line where Slim asked Queen, "Are you a good lawyer?" She said, "I'm an excellent lawyer." And he said, "Why Black people always got to be excellent? Why can't we just be ourselves?"
Right.
And it made me think of the statement that Black excellence is produced through Black trauma.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the message that Lena was really trying to convey. It's you know, to Slim, you know, Slim really thinks he's a catch, you know.
Guy.
You know, he talked about Sundays making $30 an hour, and you know, and like even down to it, you know, it's just this innocence of entitlement, like you know, like $30 an hour, you know, no kids, 30-some years old. I'm a catch. That's what he's thinking when he's really just sitting there, right? And then to just come down to the, you know, it's like to just humanize the situation and understand that, you know, just as easily as he's just a simple Black man sitting at, you know, a Black-owned restaurant, he now finds himself minutes later in a situation where it's like, man, at the end of the day, I'm Black.
That's right.
That's it. $30 an hour, me having a good job, me not having a record, none of that matters in this situation, because right now, all he sees is that I'm Black.
The same is true for Queen being an excellent lawyer. That doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
It just disappeared.
Right.
Yeah.
Her knowing exactly what to say, you know, to law enforcement didn't even matter.
It had no skin in the game.
Right.
If anything, it just made the situation worse, unfortunately, which is very sad. Very, very sad.
I do want to comment on how she creatively depicted how we as African American people deal with trauma, right? So when you think about that scene where they're lying in the bed and he asked her about the uncle, and she said, well, he murdered my mom, and then she just turned off the light. I thought that was so resounding in how we go through major trauma. And I'm speaking from experience. I mean, like, I haven't been through major trauma, but you know, I'm from the hood.
Trauma.
And the daily life of living in the hood, certain things become so normalized, and we just keep going like it's nothing. But if you talk to someone who hasn't experienced that, they look like, what do you mean you saw somebody murdered at 9? How is that normal?
Right. Doesn't that present a whole nother conversation that Lena was talking about? Like in the press, she's so mad that you know, certain, you know, like white people are saying, oh, it's just too much. I can't connect to the film. Well, it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? So just like you were saying, you know, all of us have gone through something traumatic, but it's like to add another innate level of like just being traumatized on top of that, what our ancestors have gone through, just being a Black person walking into any professional business establishment and knowing that we already look at you slightly different because of your skin color. So it's like you're dealing with a double dose of trauma every day, you know, and I think that's the reason why it's so crazy that, you know, when we're presented with this whole, like, you know, slavery happened so long ago. What? We're still living with it.
Modern things.
We're still living with it. That's why it comes out in our art. That's the reason why there's so many analogies and symbolism of slavery, of Harriet Tubman, the underground. All things that Liz so great that I really didn't catch the first time around. That it was that's really good.
And to touch on your point too of how some of us deal with trauma, it's like we're trained to just say, "Oh, don't worry about that. Like you don't have time to talk about it. Nobody wants to hear it. Move on to the next thing."
Yeah.
And I feel like we're moving away from it, but you have so many people with so many issues, and we're just walking around almost like zombies. I would compare it to a zombie, because you just walking around with issues, and who knows when you'll explode? Who knows? Who knows, right?
I don't know how low key we gonna be right around the turquoise Catalina.
That's the whole point. We'd be hiding in plain sight. Do you agree to my terms or not?
I ain't giving you no damn car.
You owe me.
So one of the next things we saw were power of unity. We saw a lot of this, but then we also saw a lot of our people playing games.
Yeah.
Very trifling. And I was thinking, like, I think Homeboy had a mental illness too. Right. That was just so petty. But my favorite, the time when I saw it, and it was like one of my favorite scenes was when the black police officer opened the garage. And I don't know how y'all movie theater it was, but I saw it twice. And both times everybody was like, yeah.
I want to add something about that. So I love going to see movies for us and with us in the theater. We like, yes. Why'd you do that? Okay, need to go. Right. Love it. Love it. We need more.
It's camaraderie. It's like whether you know the person sitting next to you or not.
So
you are my sister.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
You know, Lena, you know, she did that scene was so perfect because it was set up in such a way that it reminded us of how demeaning, right? Or the kind of names were called, being called boy. That whole setup was like, it was a relationship between the slave master and the slave, right? And then I love how she ended it with like a moment of independence and self-choice of okay, well, that's how you feel, then you know what? Y'all go ahead. Y'all go ahead and step and I love that decision.
Even to the white officer, he didn't intentionally call them animals, but you know that's how they look at us too. Exactly. Like it's probably some animals that's rolling around.
All of that. We didn't catch none of that. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, that was good.
The writing is
hold on, what you mean animals?
Excellent.
Phenomenal.
The writing is excellent.
And you know what? To your point, when you think about it, it was really a depiction of modern day slavery.
Yep.
From beginning to end.
And you know what? That's one of Lena's favorite things to do. She's, she likes to tell, colleagues, media, anybody that we are still dealing with modern day slavery, except it only looks in the form of a football field, a basketball court. She said they make money off of our black bodies.
Right. $40 million slaves.
Yes.
Check it out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's better get one. Right.
Yeah. So the one time we did not see the power of unity. Anybody want to explain the scene? Because I'm going to get mad again. The way he did us.
You want to know something? I think at the end we all were naively saying they're going to make it.
Yeah.
But we just all knew they weren't going to make it at the same time because
that's true.
Lena had to give us that harsh reality. Man, and it goes back to, it's like, and they always say it, usually it's going to be by somebody that's of the same race as you. That is such a problem. It is such a problem. It goes back to, like one of my favorite activists, Malcolm X. That's the hand of his own people.
Get your hand out of my pocket.
When I was trying to save you. That's that whole dynamic confuses me. That like every time I have conversations, it's like nobody actually can come up with an explanation. We talk about major influences in our community, Nipsey Hussle, passing to the hands of somebody, and that hurts us. We can't,
right?
Yeah. How we look as a people, we can't turn to nobody now. It's like, wow, we did this to us
again.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting that she had a brother doing that. Because I was watching an interview of hers, and she was actually going to cast a white guy, but his role was going to be like a culture vulture. So like you love our culture, but you not down for us. But so she was really stuck on that. But she sent it to one of her colleagues, and he was like, "You need to make him black," and she was like, "No." And she realized that it hurt more when it's our own. You know what I mean? And that's the truth. It hurts more when it's our own, but it happens.
As you're saying this, I'm thinking about, and I'm going to take us a little off topic a little bit and go back to the scene where he goes into the gas station. And is supposed to stick it up. Right? So he goes in, and the attendant, who's white, he says, "You don't look like a killer." But then on the flip side, when he picked that gun up and pointed to him, did he not look like a killer?
He was good, right?
I was like, well, we need to redefine what a killer looks like.
And
then that's your typical depiction of your mass shooting killer. So I thought that was genius that she put all of that in there.
The cinematic choice to hold that and let everybody feel the awkwardness. Did you not
Yes.
start
And
feeling like after a while,
Right.
it went from like ha 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 to like, hey man, you better back up a little bit.
Right. What you doing?
He holding the gun like you're not about to give it back.
Yes. I gotta give
You
it
know?
to the white boy. He played that role.
He did.
He did. I was like, oh, he crazy.
Right.
He dropped it so quick and then just turned the gun back over and was like, here you go, you know. And I thought, and it was I love the fact that even Slim didn't know the jargon of the gun. He was like, is that a Glock 40? He was like, no, it's a gun. You know, to think that, you know, the culture of like, of course we know what the name of the gun.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't. I just know it's for protection. Yeah. I'm out here being chased. That's all I know right now, you know. So.
Same.
Oh, and because we're still on Unity, right? My first glimpse of the Unity is when they decided to run. Like they had nobody else. They had nobody else to lean on at that point. Because like she said, there's nothing else back there. There's nothing else back there.
Harriet Tubman.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta leave it all
You gotta leave it all behind. And that was my glimpse of like they're bounded to forever. You know what I mean? In that one moment. So
and you know what? The symbolism of that too is just, you know, like Lena so graciously did again. She took us back to slavery times and just being just torn from your family abruptly. And not even being able to say bye.
Right.
You know, to think, but we have phones now, right? But think about getting on the ship and you're never going to see that person ever again.
Right.
And that's kind of the same thing it was. It was like, well, like, right now, this is it. I'm never going to see this is it. You're never going to see them again. Let's get in the car.
Wow.
And wow, it was like, that's, I couldn't even imagine.
I'm going to find somebody with a phone so I can call my family.
If you do that, then they'll know where we are.
Great.
What if they kill us?
Don't say that.
There's no guarantee they won't. You're a black man that killed a cop and then took his gun.
I'm not a criminal.
You are now.
I just want to go home. And I want to see my family.
If you turn yourself in, you will never see them again. All we can do is go forward. There is nothing back there for us. Please. Let's just keep going.
Okay, so the last thing that we'll hit on is black love between a black man and a black woman. You guys' thoughts?
I'm gonna go last.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim.
It's the closest thing that's been on a movie screen that made me feel since Love Jones.
Come on now.
Right. Yes.
Being a black male, it just, from the get-go, she took command. She was never to be dominated, but he was never to be emasculated at the same time. You know, even down to the decision of, you know, him taking the gun and shooting the cop. It was like killing the cop in her honor, right? But then she made the decision to say, let's go. So it was almost like, it was a perfect balance of what it's supposed to be. It's never supposed to be, you know, when they say, what's the saying? I didn't say this so much that I can't even remember when it says, oh, behind every great man is a great woman. I said beside every great man is a great woman. And that's how I love Lena, even out of being in the car. There was never a moment, even when holding hands, it was never behind one another. We were right here the entire time. Even laying in the bed, they were right there the entire time. And I loved showing, you know, that softness and that submissiveness from a woman, you know, honorably to a man to say that, hey, this is her temple, and then she honorably let him enter it in the car. You know, like just showing that was just so powerful. Like she was always in control of her own decisions. You know, when she was in the car, she said, I have a right to change my mind. And I think it was just great because it just shows you that love it's so many things, but it's kind, it's understanding, it's really it is.
For me, I liked it just because, like, most black women in my life and that I know, we're so strong, we're so independent, we're so determined, like, we're just so everything, right? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes for a black man, it can kind of be a lot, but for the right black man, they know how to, now I wouldn't even say deal with it, but they know how to love us correctly. And I like that she was able to be vulnerable with him, and she was able to, like, take that weave out and just
Right.
be her natural self, and just allow him to love her even through her stubbornness. Like he had to check her a few times, and we love that stuff.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay, let me in my place. I love that. Right. It's like, it was just so relatable, especially for like modern times. And also when they were doing interviews, I know Daniel said that it was refreshing for him because it was two brown-skinned people who were love interests. It wasn't like, you know, how sometimes they may have like a high yellow or, you know, Halle Berry beautiful. But, you know, something of that nature. She was just two beautiful dark-skinned people that could love each other.
And that's a conversation I was hoping we bring up, because I know it's a thing we talk about divided in the community. We talk about brown, light skin, all these kind of things, and really, as you talk, it goes back to unity, right? But unfortunately, we've always seen this, especially being dark skinned myself growing up. I didn't have the best childhood growing up. We didn't have Instagram where now there's pages dedicated to melanin, black men. I got made fun of. It was I never thought my skin was something beautiful. So to be sitting on a screen, see how beautiful they were lit. It was just amazing. I said, "What is this? I've never seen this on screen."
Now I'm not going to go last because that's what I was going to talk about. That was so monumental for me. Just to see the two of them, and they weren't what we call safe brown. And they were absolutely gorgeous. You know what I mean? I was just floored. I'm like, the love started there.
I love. Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sis. No, but I had to sit up on that one because, to your point, as a dark-skinned woman growing up, I would never think I would see a dark-skinned woman on the movie screen. What? No, that doesn't happen. That's not a thing. So to see that, and then also to see the love in between those people. This is normal. This is normal. This is not something that is, you know, out of the world, that's strange. This is what we should be seeing on the movie screen. It's beautiful.
And I was just going to say, I loved how it wasn't in a bed. It was in daytime. It was in nature. And I feel like nature is the closest thing to God. It's the closest thing to perfection. You know what I mean?
It is.
And I just love that they saw fit to have that scene there. Because the way I saw it was like, okay, this is right in God's eyes. The sun is shining. It's beaming on them. You see, even in the car window, you see her beautiful brown skin glistening, glowing. And I just felt like that scene was just so beautifully shot.
It was.
And I know as an actor, like you have to have a level of trust with your scene partner to even get to that point. But I just thought it was beautiful. I thought it was realistic, and it wasn't raunchy. And I feel like sometimes with two brown-skinned people, I feel like a lot of times brown-skinned women are often depicted as sexualized, over-sexualized beings. In a very nasty, low-down, demeaning way, like just trash. And I just felt like they did a really good job of making it beautiful. You know?
I want to add to that. So another thing too that I did not feel, which was great, I didn't feel fearful of these two dark-skinned people. I feel like most times than not, they try to use dark-skinned people as the villains. Like they're the bad people. But in that scene, it was beautiful. It was natural. Two dark-skinned people having a grand time. Like that's it.
You know what it did? It brought some humanity to the whole movie, because where, you know, we're sitting here thinking that these are two like heroines on the run killing cops. These are two human beings.
Yes.
Just happened to be in a bad situation. Like there was a scene when they were coming back talking about some. So are you trying to tell me the skinny Luther is big as you were on the run from cops? You know, it's like, but you know, talking about that. So like even like sitting in the car, it's just kind of like it was so raw. It was beautiful. It was just like, I think I speak for all black people were like, yep, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Pretty accurate.
That's it.
Absolutely. I also like the small things of black love, like for instance when they first were eating and he was smacking and it just really got on her nerves. And I hate when people smack. I'm just like, come on, like you gotta chill. But then when they were at the safe house, sitting at the dinner table, just the little things of love, like the little actions. Right. He started to chew, and you know, like quietly. And she peeped that, and that's at that moment. That's when I was like, "You my nigga." That I hate that. So it's like little forms like that, and even his love for God instilled love for her, and you know, in her to love God and herself. So
and
it's just beautiful.
And let's talk about her. It's kind of like playing tennis. Let's talk about her meeting him at the front door, where she's like, "I want to pray." What? You want to pray? You've been with this man for 5 days, and he's been talking about God now, and it's so crazy how they talk about a man will lead you to God, and it's crazy. She was like, in the moment, it was like, I want to pray. She felt like, I want to do this. You know, and then I don't know that. I love that whole dynamic between the two characters. Like there were so many levels. They kept growing and just saying like, hey, if you're gonna do this, then I'm gonna do this. And if you do this, I'm gonna do that, because this is what love is about, right? Because this is, you know, I'm gonna try to see eye to eye with you. You know,
and influencing each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I know Lena says a lot. You know, at the beginning, Queen is Malcolm and Slim is Martin Luther King, and at the end they switch roles, and I feel like they both just influenced each other, and not in a judgmental way either. Like it was just leading by example, basically. So I think that's a good one too. Malcolm and Martin. Right.
Can I ask you something?
I don't know, can you?
Easy, I know good grammar.
Do you?
We're not in the classroom.
Are you gonna ask me a question or not?
What took you so long to respond to me?
I didn't realize that much time had passed.
I sent you a very well-crafted message 3 weeks ago. I spell-checked it and everything, got crickets. Then today, out of the blue, you hit me up asking if you want to grab dinner. What changed?
Normally, I would go home and have a glass of wine by myself, but I didn't feel like being alone. Not tonight.
You didn't have any friends or family you can call?
No.
So you turned to Tinder.
Yeah.
What made you pick me?
I liked your picture.
What?
You had this sad look on your face. I felt sorry for you.
Damn.
So we're gonna get into a few questions. My first question is, what scene stood out the most to you, and why did it have such a big impact on you?
Oh, well, I already said it. It was the scene where Queen got shot and then Slim picked her up and walked. Yeah, they walked together. And he didn't let her go. The second part is
why did it have such a big impact on you?
Oh, so it just made me think of me and my husband. I know in my heart that he would never leave me, and that's just where it took me. Right. He's not leaving me. So that was it.
I would say the same scene, but it's more so the words that Lena wrote, and specifically when Queen says, "I'll never let your hand go," because she already knew what was up. You know what I mean? And she stood by that, and he understood that too. And I just feel like that deep connect. I feel like everybody should have the opportunity to have a love like that. You know what I mean? And the way that she acted it out, and you could see the tension on her face and the urgency. Like this is it. You know, this is my time to tell you how I feel, and even for him, like, I would have kissed all your scars. Like, who doesn't want to hear that? You know what I mean? Like, it was just a beautiful moment by two talented actors, and we were talking about this off camera, but this film really just sparked the light to me, like, as an actor, to be more like the creative energy that I needed. Like, I left the movie theater just in tears, and not because of sadness, but because of how beautiful love is and how necessary it is. And you can literally, nothing, like he said, I know that I will not bend the world, but as long as my lady remembers me fondly, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And that was a reoccurring thing too. It doesn't matter what other people thinks of you, it's what the people who matter think of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
You know, I can't think of any specific scene. There were so many scenes that were impactful to me. I did leave thinking about how she had the scenes of people talking, but you couldn't see them talk. It was like you could hear their thoughts. And I thought that was impactful, because I feel like we have the power to connect like that, and we don't, right? So there was a scene with the young boy and Queen&Slim, and it was like they were having the dialogue and they weren't saying a word. And there's so much power in that, and I think we need to kind of reconnect on that level in so many different ways. You know?
That's a cinematic choice that the director of photography to show, and like and Melina when it came to like post and editing, like that's just like to help you. I feel like you said it's like connecting on an intellectual level. Like all we heard was just the words, and you had a visual, but it was just a very like wide shot of them walking. So all you had was like let me listen in. The poetry was amazing.
Yeah, it was. I
was like, oh God, that's so deep. But mine's gonna have to be when Slim got on top of the horse. That was my favorite one because as an actor I wanted to ask like, what was the decision for him to get on the horse? Because it has to be just more than living carefree, or it's like you would be the last time you do it, and then to come to understand is that there's nothing scared in the black man on the horse because the black man got to look up at him. I thought that was just a great decision because we've always seen, especially I can't remember his name, but there's an artist who just unveiled a statue in Virginia where there used to be a Confederate statue, right? Now there's a black man on the horse. And you can imagine how that felt to unveil and have everybody looking at you know? And I was like, and it's so crazy because it's art imitating life because he just unveiled this, statue probably like December 11th in New York and has been traveling since, but Lena's been working on the script since she started writing The Shy. And that's it. I just love that. I love the power in that moment. He's on the run, white man's trying to kill him, but he's on top of this horse in this moment, looking glorious, and it's like, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Like you said, I loved almost every scene, honestly. But I guess the one that stood out to me, or that had the biggest impact on me because it was just so relatable for me, was when they went to the underground, and it was just so spontaneous. And because I'm a person who like, I'm Miss Cool, I'm not dancing, I'm not coming out of my comfort zone. But if someone is able to get me out of the comfort zone and just help me to de-stress and to just be a lady and be courted and to just be loved and just be free, it was very refreshing. And it was just like, okay, like, and I'm very old school, so I like that type of stuff. Like, let's go dance, let's go listen to live music. And I know a lot of women in our day and age are like that too, but we don't know how to express that because we may think it's lame, or like men of our generation, they may not like really like that. So it just was cool to see young people hanging with the old people and just being like having fun. So that was my favorite scene. So let's get into this question right here. Do you think, no, that's not the one I want. Should black people have the eye for an eye mentality in relation to police brutality? For instance, the young boy killing the cop in the movie.
My initial reaction is absolutely not, right? But then, I'm like you. I loved and adored Malcolm and his philosophies, and he said by any means necessary. So so it's a wow. I don't know. I say all that to say I don't know.
I say no, and then help you out because I always consider myself like organically I found Malcolm. Right, because they didn't teach it to me in school. I remember somebody handed, the greatest gift they could have handed me was his autobiography. Since I have thus read it 3 times now, right? And then I will say his metamorphosis, like after the Nation of Islam, I feel like even Malcolm would have been like, no, this ain't the way, man. You can't. Very true. And I think that just takes us into the power of influence of infotainment and social media, and what that's causing. Because he felt, as if it's almost as if, as real as Black Panther is a superhero. He saw them as superheroes, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until life got real and then a real gun let out a real bullet and you killed a real black man, it's like, oh, this is not a video game. This isn't just like, oh, we're angry. It's it's like, and I think there was a moment for us to, instead of an eye for an eye, Lena provided a moment for us to educate. She left that open for us to educate. It's like, because this is harsh reality of it. It's more than just a black boy killing a black cop. You just got black boys killing one another with guns, right?
Very true.
So the the whole eye for an eye thing, I think that's just a moment for us to really educate, our youth on, just what's influencing them right now, and just having those conversations and talking to him, because it didn't seem like him and his dad had a great conversation. I mean, or relationship. You know, he just kind of was on his own journey trying to figure life out. So.
Because his dad was stick by the rules, because he didn't agree with Queen&Slim.
Right.
You know, so to see that he was just so like with the mentality of do what the white man says, and you know, just thinking that he's raising his son like that, and then you look up on the news and your son got shot because he killed a cop.
Right. That's a good point, because even when you think about in that scene when he talks to his dad, he has a method. He has like a procedure in how he talks to his dad, but then he let himself go when he was in the company of Queen&Slim.
Right.
You know, it was like, yes, sir.
Right.
Okay. And then it was like, oh, I rebel, you guys. You know. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, very true.
I don't agree with it being like eye for an eye, but I do think things are not okay, but within reason. You know what I mean? And as a child, like for this example, he may not know how to use the common sense of, okay, this man is really trying to humanize himself to me right now. He is not a threat.
Yeah.
So, but I think because the moment is so heightened and he is young and it's just like, oh my gosh, now I shot somebody. In that case, you have to deal with the consequences. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like the fact that he was shot, but realistically, that would have happened. You know what I mean? You're at a rally and you shoot a police officer, and you have all these other police officers seeing you. They're going to shoot you. Yeah. But I do like the fact that they put that in the movie by having the boys shoot that cop, because I think when people see the trailer, it's like, okay, 2 black people, they shoot a cop, and like Lena said, like some people automatically see them as heroes, you know. But there's a catch-22 with that, because now, not intentionally, you're saying it's okay to do that to police officers, and not all police officers are the same.
Right.
But I thought it was cool that they did put that in there, and it added another layer. It made it a little bit more complicated.
Can I ask you something? What took you so long to respond to me?
I didn't feel like being alone. Not tonight.
So you turned to Tinder. What made you pick me?
I liked your picture. You had this sad look on your face. I felt sorry for you.
Damn.
You made a playlist? That's cute.
Don't go through my phone. So what happens tonight?
You're gonna drop me off and then you'll go home, I guess.
Oh.
Did you think we were gonna have sex?
Nah. No.
You failed to execute a turn signal back there.
Oh, my bad.
Step out of the vehicle.
Can I ask why, officer?
No, you may not. Put your hands on your head and get on the ground now.
Are you serious?
Get on the ground!
Why is he under arrest?
Get back in the car!
I am an attorney.
Damn,
I'm
just
reaching for my cell phone.
What if God wanted me to die and I messed up his plan?
I don't think that's what he wanted.
Hey, is this y'all? We have to go, now.
It's all over the news.
I support what y'all doing.
It was self-defense.
Power to the people.
187, 2 young suspects.
Yeah, it in the Black Bonnie and Clyde. How you gonna outrun the police?
We hide in plain sight.
You like this?
I don't know yet.
Don't worry, you're safe here. It's an honor to meet y'all.
Y'all really gave us something to believe in. I'm tired of playing it safe. I want to ride or die. As long as my lady remembers me fondly, it's all I need.
Thank you for this journey, no matter how it ends.
If you haven't seen the film, we encourage you guys to go see it. It's amazing. You'll take so many lessons from it. Everybody better go get it on DVD. It's added to the collection. You know, and I mean, for you creatives, how can people keep up with you guys?
You can follow me on Instagram at Carrie May China. That's Carrie, the month May in China like the country.
You can follow me on Instagram at Timothy M. Richardson.
Okay. So if you need any digital marketing, social media work, follow me at Kanu the Guru. That's KNU the Guru.
Mine is Liz 2 times, LICTWOTIMES. And you can listen to me late nights on the weekends.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can find me at I am Ameena Lee on Instagram.
So thank you guys so much for participating. This was fun. This was needed. And stay tuned for more The TalkBack.
Yes.